how's it going? Okay, back with a new video today, and this one is a props video. I'm pretty excited for this one. This is a prop that I ordered a little over 6 months ago that has finally come in. Bit of a long story with this one. Looking forward to checking this out. It is a Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives prop. All right, so first up, this prop, as I mentioned, bit of a long story. So I ordered this from a fellow by the name of Michael Hardesty back in, I think it was August. Anyway, I sort of just came across his name. I forget where I found him, if it was on his Etsy store or, I don't think it was on his Etsy store. I think I saw him maybe on Facebook or something, and I'm rarely on Facebook, but I was on there at the time or something, and I came across a post of his where he was selling these props, and I inquired with him because this was an older ad. It was, it was a while back, and I was just wondering if he still did them. And it turns out he did. He actually does all sorts of really cool props. A lot of stuff from like My Bloody Valentine, like the masks, the pickaxes and stuff. Lots of Jason stuff. From right across the whole franchise, really. Anyway, I placed an order with him for this particular prop. And I guess somewhere along the line in the last month or two, he had said he was going to send it out. He apologized for a delay. He had a hand injury or something. Totally fine. I don't like to rush artists. You know me, like with anything I'm getting done, I feel like you need to cut them the slack and let them do the work at their pace and not rush anything. If you want it to look really nice, you want them to put, their best work into it, then I say, don't pressure them and stuff, right? So I didn't really, bother him. But he did say he was going to be sending it and sending me tracking or something like that, and I don't think I ever got it. And quite a bit of time passed, and I sort of forgot about it. I went back to it, and I asked him, and he was kind of shocked, like, oh my God, you haven't got it, I'm so sorry, yada, yada, yada. So I didn't really know what happened, but anyway, long story short, he did send me tracking right after that, and I left it alone for a while, and then after a week or two, I went to check on it, and it was still just reading, label created, like, but it looked like it hadn't even shipped yet, so I don't know what was going on. Maybe they just hadn't scanned it. But after another day or two, all of a sudden it was moving along when I asked him about it, and it finally arrived here late last week. And well, it didn't arrive here, I guess I should say. I got a notice that I had a package in, and there were customs and duties fees on it. I think it was 42 bucks, so pretty steep. And this was just coming from, I think it's Florida, where Michael's from. But yeah, pretty expensive. So anyway, long story short, I paid it, brought it home, and I haven't had a chance to open it until now. So I wanted to get this thing open and have a look. So what is inside here is the Jason Lives Ram Survival Knife. So this is basically a resin copy. I believe it's resin, as well as a sheath that I ordered from him, so it should be a real leather setup. It looks really cool. The stuff that he's posted online, it looks pretty fantastic. So I'm hoping it's everything I ever wanted. So if I'm judging from the pictures I've seen, it should look fantastic. So let's get this thing open and take a look. It's definitely been opened a few times. You can see, I'm sure, in customs. But I imagine they would have a bit of a freak out with it because they are, not big on sending weapons and stuff through customs. Okay, let's set that there. And then put the box down. Oh, weird. Oh. There's no sheath. There's no sheath. Wow. There's no sheath. That's strange. I paid for a knife and a sheath. And the knife looks really good. Wow, very cool. Look at that. That is a pretty sweet looking replica. But yeah, he did say he does leather working, and yeah, I don't understand where the sheath is. Huh. That's crazy. So I'll have to ask him about that. Knife looks pretty good. There's a few little blemishes here and there, but it looks pretty good. A little bit of a mark on the handle, but really looks nice. Like, that looks legit. Fairly pointy too. That's kind of like the buck I have over here. It's got quite a point on it as well. Crazy. Definitely resin, and definitely feels like quality. Very cool. Definitely has a little bit of flex to it too, so it's not super stiff. Yeah, that's quite nice. So I'll give you some closer shots of this thing. So yeah, up close it looks kind of like a typical Rambo knife. You can tell it was hand painted and everything here. But pretty nice job, not bad at all. I'm blown away that there's no sheath in here. I really wondered when I picked it up and, you know, felt it was a little on the light side, you know, and I was trying to stay positive, going, no, don't tell me, right? So, wow. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to contact Mr. Hardesty. Yeah, it looks really great, but I'm really blown away there's no sheath in here. That just absolutely blows me away. Yeah. Craziness. And he did throw in something else. He mentioned he was going to throw in a little extra token for me, and it looks like it is a spear tip. He told me he was going to give me a spear tip, and there it is right there. The Jason Live spear tip. That was very nice of him to do that. I do actually have one of these already, believe it or not, as well as the bottom of the spear. I just haven't put them together yet. I got right here. Oh, this one's quite a bit lighter. Wow. But as you can see, they're similar. This one has a bit of a pattern on it, and it's more of like a plug style that you would plug it into the end of the tube, whereas this fits over the end of the tube. So it's a little bit of a different fit. Interesting. And they're both about the same width and just about the exact same size. I would say this other one I have is just a touch bigger, but pretty cool. That was nice of him to throw that in. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to contact Mr. Hardesty and find out where my sheath is, because yeah, that is not cool. Yowzers. But I can't complain about the knife. It looks really good. It's very nice. It definitely looks different than the one in the picture that he showed me here that he said he was sending to me. And that one looks, I would say, a little more of a silvery gray color, whereas this one is quite dark. It almost looks black. Cool though, nonetheless. Looks really good. As well as the information for Mr. Michael Hardesty, who made this for me and somehow forgot my sheath. I am going to have to get in touch with him and let him know that I've opened it up and just wondering where the sheath for this is. So I guess I better get on that. That's disappointing. That's too bad. That is too bad. He also runs the Gruesome Garage on Etsy. But anyway, I will get in touch with them. This does look really cool. I'm fine with this. It just, it looks different than the picture I got and what I was expecting, but this will work just fine. I just need the sheath though. It's a big deal not having it, especially when I paid for it and then of course dropped another $41 or $42 or whatever it was just to get it delivered by UPS. So anyway, I guess I better get to contacting Michael here and just seeing what's going on. But I will give you guys an update on that a little bit later. Okay, so I actually heard back from him before I had the video totally finished, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick update to slip in here. So yeah, it is kind of a long story with what went on, so I'll just sort of give you the breakdown on what's happening. So it turns out I won't be getting a sheath anymore. I know, right? Very strange, but yeah, it's kind of left me in a bit of a bad spot because now I have a knife and no sheath, and I don't know where I'm going to find a sheath or one that's going to fit exactly right because he made them, you know, himself off of the original. I'm sure he has an original or something he uses for his molds or what have you, but this is basically how it went down. So I'll give you the breakdown. So on August 10th, I inquired to see if he still made these things, and he said he did, and by August 11th I had sent him the money for a knife and a sheath as well. And over that time, you know, we sort of kept in contact. September 13th he told me he was finishing the mold, you know, and it was getting there. Originally I had a convention in September. It was the Edmonton Expo actually that was happening that I was hoping to maybe wear it to. I knew that was a little tight though, and he told me right up front he didn't know if he would be able to make that or not. It might be a little tight, and that's fine. I totally understood that. All good. But so he told me he was finishing the mold on the 13th of September, and then on October 5th I contacted him again, and he mentioned he had been going through some health problems, and he was, what did he say? He said he was completely fine now back in October, I think it was October 5th. So I assumed everything was okay. So he had said he was finishing up and sending the knife soon. This was back on the 5th, right? So on the 14th, he then said he had a few update pictures for me in the next day or two and was going to be sending it out. Never did see anything there. And then October 20th, he told me he injured his hand. And then he said, here's the knife, and he forgot to send a picture. And I said, you know, I didn't receive anything. He's like, oh, sorry, I thought I sent it. And then he sent me that picture I've been showing you. But he had said he had injured his hand there, and I said, you know, I'm sorry to hear, and all the rest of it. That was back on the 20th. So then on November 9th, he said he was sending out the knife later today or tomorrow, and he said he would send pics. So I did get a picture, and he sent me a picture of the spear tip that he was including. Now that was sort of an extra thing he just decided to throw in. Nothing I ordered. Actually, nothing I honestly needed. It was, it's right here. Like I said, I do have one up there already that I had sourced a long time ago. So cool. I was like, yeah, that's awesome to have. You know, and it's a different style. Like I said, this is sort of in the plug, and that one is over. So cool. Like, that's nice of you. You didn't need to do that though. But then he said he would be sending the tracking shortly, and this was on, you know, like November 10th, I believe it was. So I just kind of left it at that and thought, okay, well, he'll be sending tracking and the rest of it. And then, of course, life happened, and December happened, and it was nuts, and it was Christmas and all the rest of it. And I got away from it, and I thought, did he ever send that tracking? I got to look and see. And I look it up, and I noticed he didn't. So January 14th rolls around. This is like 2 months since we talked. And I said, you know, what's going on? Like, I never got pictures of it finished, like you said, and you said you were going to send me tracking, and I haven't got anything. You know, what's going on? And he got back to me eventually and said, oh, it must have been a problem with customs, and I'll send you my copy. I don't know what happened, and I'll send you another spear tip. Again, I don't understand, but that's what kind of happened there. So he said, oh, there must have been a problem with customs or something, which I thought was strange because it's not, you know, they're not real weapons. And I've sent a lot of stuff back and forth that are like weapons, so to speak, like that aren't sharp and aren't real. And I haven't really had any trouble with it. One time I did win a Freddy glove off of the guy that built that awesome template glove for me. That's Kurt Gates with Springwood Replicas. He sent me this Freddy glove that I won, and I guess it got seized in customs, of course, because it is all metal and everything, and I never saw it, and unfortunately I didn't get anything for that. It's just the way it goes. So that was a bummer because that was a pretty sweet win. That thing would have been worth well over 200 bucks, probably more than that. But I was just out of luck, unfortunately. So stuff like that can happen, but I've only ever had it happen with something that was like real metal that looked dangerous. In fact, those blades may have even been sharp. I don't recall for sure, but yeah, that was a bummer. But anyway, I was surprised to hear that because I thought, well, customs shouldn't be doing anything with it, and even then they should still be contacting you, or it should go back to you, but whatever. So that was January 14th. So then 11 days later, on January 25th, he finally sent me tracking information. And I thought, okay, well now at least I have tracking. So I didn't check it for a little bit. I left it, and then I went back to it thinking, I gotta remember to check that tracking and see where it is. So on February the 6th, this is just under 2 weeks later, I decided to check the tracking, see where this thing was at. And when I looked it up, it said label created, meaning it hadn't even been scanned to leave yet. It wasn't in transit, it just said label created. So of course I tried reaching out to him and contacting him again, and I didn't get a response actually on that at all. So I thought not getting a response was a little strange because it showed that he was on, you know, it always shows when somebody's on when they're on Messenger or whatever. And he had been on very recently and been on after, and I thought, you know, what's going on? So I didn't get a response from him there, and I just left it and thought, okay, well maybe I'm going to be out the money entirely, which is a little strange because that kind of stuff usually doesn't happen. He seemed pretty genuine and had, you know, a lot of stuff he's done in the past, so I wasn't really worried about it. So what I did was I decided to check the tracking again the following day, and all of a sudden it said it had shipped. And I thought, okay. So he didn't get back to me, but he went out and shipped it. You know, I just thought it was strange, you know. So yeah, this whole time I'm just thinking, why not just tell me what's going on if you're really going to send it, or if you're having health problems or whatever it is that you said you were fine now back in October, so, you know, and you hurt your hand and everything. I thought, you know, everything was fine, right? So then I saw that it was moving though with the tracking, and I said, okay, well I'll wait for it. And then I got a notice from UPS that I had a package, so I had to pay for that. So I paid that up front. That was another $41 or something. It was not cheap, and I covered that, and then it got delivered. And it was sitting here for, I don't know, a few days, and I opened it on camera, of course, earlier in this video you're watching now, and realized there's no sheath. Dun, dun, dun. So, kind of a big problem. So I reached out again, even though he hadn't got back to me from the previous message, how nothing had been sent back on February 6th, I think it was. And, you know, I said, look, the sheath isn't in here, you know, what's going on? You know, I got the tip, thanks. But yeah, really the sheath is what matters, and what, you know, what I paid for and what I was really needing to get to have, right? So he did get back to me, and he said, I'm really sorry, I'll start working on the sheath right away. I'll start working on the sheath right away. It's going to take some time. And I thought, well, what do you mean? Like, you haven't worked on you don't have a sheath? Like, you didn't make the sheath already? Because I don't know, or maybe something did get lost in customs, but it's just so hard to understand. Like, I told him I was going to be doing a video and everything of it too, and it just nothing was making sense at all. So he said he would do that, and I said, okay, you know, like, let me know. I'm just really confused that this is happening, you know, like, how does this happen? When I got it 6 months ago and all this stuff, and he just basically came back and said, you know, I'm really sorry for all the trouble, and he mentioned he doesn't talk about it much on, you know, on the business side of things, but he's been dealing with a cancerous tumor. So I could sort of relate to that a little bit. I had a bit of a scare with a tumor just last month. I mentioned it on the channel, actually. Luckily, it turned out to be benign in my case. So, yeah, I was sorry to hear that for sure. That is terrible. So I totally understand. I just wish, if that were the case, I just wish he had told me originally that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna mean, if you know, dealing with something like that could mean you won't see the sheath or the knife for, you know, 6 months or whatever, fine. Or maybe I can't really get this done, or whatever. Like, I would have been understanding. I would have been like, totally no problem, you know, and we would have refunded and did the whole thing. But instead, he just told me he was dealing with this problem, and sorry for the inconvenience or whatever, and I sent you your money back. Yeah. So he sent my money back. My money back for the sheath, just the sheath, of course. So unfortunately, the whole thing has left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth because of the way everything was handled. Because, like, I totally understand a health ailment. I mean, health is paramount. It's the most important thing, right? So had he told me he wasn't able to get it done for these reasons way back, you know, because he told me he was dealing with it for 8 months, which is 2 months before I placed that order. So I don't understand. And then in October he said he was good now. So whatever news he got or whatever he was dealing with, I had assumed, because he said, you know, he was good, that everything was fine. So I don't really know what's going on there, but I never really did get an explanation of why the sheath was never done, you know, or what. But I find it hard to believe, though, if you're going to send out a sheath and a knife and it gets seized in customs or whatever, number one, you wouldn't know about it, and number two, you wouldn't try to contact me about it, and number three, if you're going to put it together again, you wouldn't even mention the sheath. Let's just, you know, it's just, what? Like, that's half of the order, man. That's what matters, of course. You have to have the sheath. That's going to be hanging off the belt. So I don't know. Anyway, very long story short, that is the update. The update is he's refunded me when I never asked for a refund. I just wanted the sheath. So the scoop basically is I'm not going to be getting a sheath anymore, and I'm stuck with just a Ram replica knife and no sheath. So I can't put it in the sheath I have. It would never fit. And I can't really walk around with it. I mean, you could, but, or stick it in your belt, but it's going to look so dumb without the sheath. You have to have the sheath. So it's kind of like, I would rather have the whole thing refunded, or you just finish the sheath for me. And since I already have it here, and apparently it costs me about 40 more bucks to collect it from UPS every time it gets here, it would make a lot more sense if he just did the sheath like he said he was going to do and send it to me. But if he is dealing with this health issue, I totally get it. It's just, you know, man, you gotta tell me ahead of time, right? It seems so strange to just go through the whole process, have kind of bad communication, not send things, and then, you know, just say, oh, well, I've been dealing with this thing, and here's your money back. Sorry. And it's like, well, hold on a minute, man. I didn't do anything wrong here. I just was looking for what I paid for, and I can totally sympathize that you're going through some shit, and that sucks, you know. Like I said, had I known ahead of time, I just would have said, you know, don't worry about it. Like, we can, you know, if you don't think you can handle it, that's totally fine. Or if you're gonna have problems, you know, I'd wish you all the best, and you know, we'd go our separate ways, and I would have probably figured out something else for it by now. And so now I'm kind of stuck in a spot where it's a little bit far away from getting totally completed. I mean, I got the darts a while back. I still have to weather my dart pouch a little more because I didn't really do it much when I first got it. But other than that sheath, really, that's just about all I need, besides getting that one piece of PVC pipe for my spear. So yeah, a little disheartening and kind of crappy about the way it was all handled. I'm definitely going to be having to look for some kind of a sheath that'll fit that knife, if I even can, or I don't know, maybe I can flip the knife to somebody else who needs it. But again, without the sheath, it's kind of a tough sell. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's the situation I'm in, unfortunately, with that one. So that's the scoop, guys. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I will see you again for another one, hopefully sooner than later. Take care, guys.